We can hear all that now. 3 is what we have the crowd. No, it's really impressive. 1, 2, and 3 unmuted. So, 2 of us and crowd mic. We're only going to unmute 1 and 2, just so we can hear them 2 talking. You're mainly focusing on this right here. The input is controlling the audio level. It's good right now. That would be probably too loud. That would be way too quiet. You want to keep it right in that area. For 2, I think both of them hope the levels are at last time. Crowd mic. Yeah. Just look at the green. That's really all you can do. Again, this is streaming to YouTube, so it's not as important as the radio. For the crowd mic, it's loud in here, so you don't need it as loud. So I like to keep it so it's only going green and it's not going full green, because that's just going to be overbearing. So you want to keep it more. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. There we go, like that.
welcome to this pregame show. I'm Jonathan Falco. This is Rashad Bigelow. And Rashad, we have an exciting volleyball matchup here, right here in Ben Light Gymnasium, between the Ithaca Bombers and the Middlebury Panthers, don't we?
Yes, we do. I think it's going to be an excellent game today. Even though it's Middlebury's first game, they went 16-9 last year. I think they have some upcoming players that are expected to play some big parts here today.
You're absolutely right, Rashad. But let's go over to the Bombers real quick, because the Bombers have been on fire these past few years with this great volleyball team. 3-1 right now. And I have to ask you, just for this season, who on the Bombers has impressed you the most?
I don't know. There's a lot of players here today, but some that stand out to me right now is Naomi Claus. She's got 34.5 points so far, and she's third on the team in kills. She had 10 kills today in today's game against Rochester. There's also Gabriella. She also had 31 points this day, and she leads the team in kills. We have Ellie Benedict. She's leading the teams in digs with 24 this year. There's a couple of them. I think Julia Costa, she leads the teams. She had 17 digs against Stevens this year, and yeah.
All right, you're absolutely right. All four of those players have some sort of impact for this Bombers team. Julia Costa had 9 kills today, and you mentioned Gabriela Gonzalez of Brady, 31.5 points so far, and you're absolutely right, leads the team in kills. That's impressive for an absolutely outstanding Ithaca Bombers team to be leading in that statistic. And as you mentioned already, Naomi Claus, 10 kills today in today's game against Rochester, just a few hours ago, actually. So, and that's what gives the Bombers the 3-1 start to the season. But now let's switch hands for a second, because their opponents, the Middlebury Panthers, are in their season debut tonight. So who on Middlebury must start the season strong to get past Ithaca?
I think there's a couple of players last year that stood out stats-wise. Gabby O'Toole, she led the team in assists last season with 9.4 a game, with the next player only having 70. I think that was insane. Katie was their best player all around. She had 205 points, 234 kills, and 212 digs. But then you have players, like I said, the upcoming players, Ava Tuccia, 191 points, 148 kills, 258 digs. Lauren Baxter, I think, was another one up there. She was without Katie. I think she was one of the top 3 scorers with 156 points, and she also had 143 kills. So I think those players right there, the 3 that I just named, I think those 3 are going to have to step up for this season and in this game in general.
You're absolutely right, Rashad. And you mentioned Gabby O'Toole, 850 aces last season. She's an outstanding server. And guess what? O'Toole also plays defense. She's an incredible defender because she has 260 digs on last season, and she's really going to need to step up this season, especially after losing Katie Kruszkowski just last year thanks to this weird thing called graduation. After 4 years, you got to leave, unfortunately, for Middlebury. But guess what? That also creates an opportunity for someone like you mentioned, Ava Tuccio, 191.5 points last year, 148 kills, 258 digs last season. So this is an impressive defensive team. So I'm really excited to see how Ithaca attacks this outstanding defense. And another person that you forgot to mention is now sophomore standout Molly Harrison. And as a first year last year, she had 365 points, basically a point a day all last season, and 313 kills. It led the team there last season. So there's an impressive amount of youth on the Middlebury Panthers. So it's going to be really fun to see how this team develops, how both teams develop as the season goes on. And and this is for both teams, Middlebury's youth, Ithaca's veteran leadership. It's going to be really exciting clash between the youth and the veterans. So, and based off that, let's go jump back to Ithaca for a second, because who do you think, out of all the players that we mentioned already, will be Ithaca's MVP of the game?
I don't know, man. That's really hard to assume. I think there's a lot of players on this team that can stand out to be that MVP player. I think it might be a little too early to assume, but from what we see, I just want to say Naomi Claus, the same ones that we named, Ellie Benedict, those players, I think they stand out the most for that MVP.
I'm going to agree with you on Naomi Claus there. She's just really balanced. She's balanced. She already had a great game earlier. She already has her mojo going right now. So if she can continue that in this game, this could be a great opportunity for the Bombers to secure a big win over Middlebury. But now, speaking of Middlebury, let's see what these Panthers can do. Who do you think is going to be the MVP for Middlebury?
I'm going to immediately say maybe Molly Harrison. I think even though I forgot to name her, I think she's definitely one of those upcoming, that sophomore standout that you mentioned that definitely is going to be their MVP this year. She was outstanding last year, and I think if she plays at the same pace she did there, I think she'll be the MVP this season as well.
Yeah, absolutely right. The sophomore standout herself, Malia Harrison. Don't worry, I won't forget her. It's okay. We apologize to Malia Harrison, but it's okay because she's going to show out today with the 365 points that she had last year. She's going to start the season out strong. I really think so. So with that being said, I'm going to agree with you there. But do you have any other game predictions? Who do you think is going to win this one, Rashad?
I'm going to say Ithaca. I think they already had, multiple warm-ups. They've already got the game in set. They probably, watched a lot of film. And obviously, I don't want to, go straight to Ithaca here, but, Middlebury, they've had a lot of film to watch since Ithaca's already had. They might be a little tired, Ithaca here, but, Middlebury could come back and, surprise me here. But, I'm going to have to go with Ithaca.
You're absolutely right. They were already on the floor today with University of Rochester, beating them 3-0. They looked red hot. And this is the third game of the Bomber Invitational. Earlier we saw St. John Fisher and Rochester play at 3:30. But now the Bomber Invitational continues in just a matter of moments with the Bombers taking on the Middlebury College Panthers. So in my prediction, I'm going to agree with you here. I think Ithaca's offense is really tough. It's going to be too tough. As impressive as Middlebury's defense is, they say defense wins championships, but does defense really matter when you have a superior offense as the Ithaca Bombers? That's my prediction. We're on the same page there, and that's all for this wonderful edition of the pregame show. Alongside Rashad Bigelow, I'm Jonathan Falco saying so long as we send it to Devin Jarvis and Matt Giavoni for the call.
Sometimes it doesn't go the first.
Bomber volleyball is back in Ben Light Gymnasium for the first time in 2024, and Ithaca is here to go off against Middlebury in their second matchup of the day. Great to have you with us on the South Hill. Devin Jarvis alongside Matt Giavoni for your coverage of Ithaca volleyball, and what an exciting weekend this is, Matt. We've got the Bomber Invitational right now. We have 3 games today, 3 games tomorrow, and then Ithaca football kicks off their season tomorrow against Johns Hopkins. You really couldn't ask for much more in one weekend, but right now our focus is on the hardwood. Can't really enjoy that much more.
Absolutely. The anticipation has been building throughout the time that we've all been here on the South Hill. Last weekend, everybody was itching to get some of these sports going. Volleyball had some away games. Football hadn't even started yet. A lot of people have wanted to watch athletics again on the South Hill, and this weekend is giving you your fair share of all of it.
We get it all, and we get the start of Middlebury and Ithaca right here. We're going to kick things off at approximately 5:58 p.m. from Ben Light Gymnasium. It's going to be fun. You know, haven't seen much action in Ben Light to this point, Matt, and now we actually get to see some action begin with, mind you, a new head coach at the helm. Bombers right now command a record of 4-1 heading into this one against Middlebury. They had a 3-1 victory over Rochester earlier today. And now we begin things here with Middlebury. Allie Benedict, the starting libero, pops it up first. Slavin assists. Sabatier can't get it. Blocked. Back for Sabatier. Gonzalez Abreu lifts over. Now back in the hands of Middlebury. Soft touch kept up by Slavin. Back over for Benedict. Sabatier blocked and out of bounds. First blood drawn by the Bombers.
And Devin, you were mentioning that game against Rochester earlier, and new head coach Tara Stillwell, with the ex-head coach, longtime head coach Johan Dolfa, was also in the building earlier, showing some support at the beginning of the home stretch of their season for the Bombers.
Sabatier, or rather Ella Graper, will get things kicked off. Soft touches and an ace for her.
And this is an interesting matchup coming into it. Middlebury hasn't played yet today. Meanwhile, Ithaca got things started against the University of Rochester earlier in quite dominant fashion, mind you.
We go once again for Graper. Far side line. This one not kept in the air quite easy. Finally a touch over, just over the net. This one falls in a lucky fashion in favor of the Panthers. They finally get their first chance to put points on the board once again. 2-1 your score here from Ben Light Gymnasium. Ithaca College right now with a record of 3-1, while the Middlebury Panthers 0-0. This is their first showing of the season. And we begin with Ella Pate from the far side. Her service goes center, kept up by Costa. Set to Sabatier, gets blocked and now kept up in the air. Caldwell keeps it up, blocked by the Bombers, goes out of bounds. And the score squared up at 2 apiece.
Blocks are something that the Bombers struggled in last year. One of their worst defensive statistics, something that you've got to think they wanted to work on this offseason. You saw how successful they were in their season last year, and maybe those blocks are an extra step to have more success.
Sabatier, power shot! 3-2 your score, and the Bombers get it back. This time it'll be Peyton Miller. We saw her with some time as the setter in the middle of last season. Of course, there was a lot of transition in that position. But right now it looks to be Slavin. Soft touch over. Benedict keeps it high. Now Slavin to GGA. This one finds the hardwood. Gonzalez Abreu was the star phenom on this team last year. Had herself a team lead in points as Peyton Miller lifts it up once again. She'll get the dig out here. Slavin to Hampton. Once again, battling for it are the Panthers. Dig by Gonzalez Abreu, set by Slavin. She fakes it out. Still in the air, but a double touch by the Panthers.
And you can't talk enough about Wesley Slavin. Came in last season when Maddie Cox went down with an injury and has just really taken over the primary setting and assist position on this team. She's been great in her starting time.
But it's a very interesting conversation to have as Costa won't be able to dig out this one. Collides off the roof. Slavin puts the free ball over. Back to the other side for Caldwell. She keeps it high. And the block by the Bombers unsuccessful. It goes back the way of the Panthers. 5-3 your score. 8 points into this outing. And as we were mentioning before, Maddie Cox, she started all but one when she was healthy. Right now it seems like Slavin is the choice at setter, Matt.
Yeah, and Maddie Cox just so good, but when you're nationally ranked in assists per set like Wesley Slavin was for the majority of last season, you've got to go with her as the starter.
How about Gabby O'Toole for this one? Gets past Costa, 5-4 the score now. And it's a big point to watch because, of course, new coach, if Johan Dolfer was here, it might still be Maddie Cox, but it's Tara Stillwell who takes over the duties in her first season. 4-1 right now as the serve comes over. Gonzalez Abreu blocks one into the hands of the Panthers. Goes far back behind her in 6-4 the score.
Yeah, and if you don't know how hard Gabby Gonzalez Abreu is hitting those spikes, just watch that play right there. They blocked her, and it was so hard off of the hands of the blockers that it went all the way out of bounds on Ithaca's side of the court. That is just shows Gabby Gonzalez Abreu's power.
Just over 3 points per set at the moment. Soft touch, Benedict keeps it high. Now for Slavin and Klaas. This one just misses on the near side borderline. Klaas will miss out for her first strike of the day, and really it is a two-headed monster of these class of 2027 outside hitters between Klaas and Gonzalez Abreu.
Yeah, and Klaas was arguably the player of the game in their first game today against the University of Rochester. Looking to see a lot out of her in this one.
Fighting over are the Panthers. Good dig by Miller. Slavin high for Klaas. This one blocked into the hands and goes straight down on the hardwood. 6-6 were drawn up here in the first set. Middlebury, a solid team. We saw them go 16-9 in their last season, and they're bringing the fight here early against the Bombers. Molly Harrison for the serve. Miller now for Slavin, and right into the hands of Hampton. Blocked by the Panthers. And for the first time this evening, it's Middlebury on top.
Yeah, that three-headed monster up there for Middlebury of Gabby O'Toole, Lillian Caldwell, and Gabby Prebish is giving the Bombers a lot to think about when they go for their spikes.
Slavin for Klaas. This one gets down.
And of course, just as I say that, they're able to get past them, but so far it's been a really interesting back-and-forth battle. The Bombers haven't run into many front lines that could block them as efficiently as Middlebury has so far to start this one.
Good set by Benedict. Now it's the Panthers' turn. Soft touch over, Benedict dig. Here's Slavin for the set. Graper gets it over. Kept high by the Panthers. Now Caldwell, she finds a good spot. Touch over with one hand by Klaas. Other side now, soft touch. Can't get over the net. Gabby Prebish with the error and gives back the Bombers the lead once again.
And Prebish has the error there, but you really have to look to Ellie Benedict and her amazing dig to even keep the Bombers in that set.
Caldwell was the one who was dug out by Benedict, and a good block there by the middle blocker in junior this year in Ella Graper. Such a deep roster you have, a lot of freshmen, Matt, that haven't got any playing time. I mean, really, you saw the freshman class come in last year and thrive. This one is coming to a team that's so incredibly deep that they might have their chance in years to come because of how talented this roster is.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you talk about names like Ella Graper only being a junior, with how much she played last season, you'd almost assume that she was a senior. So just the amount of time that these underclassmen are able to get and how good they've been, you've got to imagine that this team is set up for years to come.
Double-digit kills for Klaas in the game earlier today. She has two after that one. First one to get to double digits tonight are the Bombers, and we hand things over to Wesley Slavin on the service line for her first opportunities of the night. Wesley Slavin, like you mentioned, was hovering around 10.5 assists per set as she lifts one over. Panthers try, blocked by Graper, straight into the net.
Wesley Slavin, Ella Graper, both very big contributors last year, especially in those serves. They were both 1 and 2 in service aces, both 1 and 2 in service aces so far to start this young season.
Now back for Prebish. She lifts over. Benedict for Slavin. Now for Klaas. Finds hardwood. What a shot. As Ben Light Gymnasium is filling up with patrons here this afternoon. You got a football game tomorrow. Ben Light Gymnasium might have less of a crowd than they do now because of it.
Yeah, you got to imagine everybody's getting ready, but still a huge showing. And of the Bomber Invitational games on the slate, this one is the most anticipated.
It's one of the most exciting weekends of the year that we have here from the South Hill. Great dig by Costa. Benedict finds it in the air. Now for Gonzalez Abreu, just a little bit too low into the netting at center.
And those rafters, they're going to be a factor in this game. We saw the University of Rochester and St. John Fisher. Both of them weren't really prepared for the rafters here at Ben Light Gymnasium in their game wrapped up just about a half an hour ago.
Gabby O'Toole lifts it over. Bombers go for Slavin. Soft touch over. Great touch by Sabatier. Just uses the pads of her fingertips to push the dagger in. And now 12-10 the score. We go back to Ella Graper, who on her first serve had an ace. Here she goes again. 12-10 the score. She serves over. Bombers in the lead. Touch over, and it goes right for Hampton. Josie Hampton, the senior this year out of Gig Harbor, Washington. She didn't see much time last year, but she comes in as a new addition for this Bomber team, and hopefully a positive one at that. Back for Graper, 13-10 Bombers lead. Powerful serve over, not much spin. Panthers keep it high. It goes for Baxter, straight into the net.
And I could see what Baxter was trying to do there. She wanted to float it up, have a little bit of a lighter touch, just wasn't able to get it fully over the net. And that's a dangerous play anyway against the Bombers, who if you serve it on a silver platter to them, they're going to be sending it back your way with heat.
Graper goes back over. Lift here for Baxter. This one she finds success with. Manages to redeem her error with a kill. Bombers had their largest lead of tonight at 4. It's now cut down to 3. And we give things back to Ella Pate to begin her time at the service line. She had a solid season last year, 3 service aces on the year as she lifts over with some topspin. Slavin now for the set. Sabatier straight into hands. Now back for Slavin. Far side, Gonzalez Abreu. So much power on that shot. Panthers try and keep it in the air, but they're out of the area of play.
Yeah, Molly Harrison almost had a good save there, but she actually crossed onto the Bombers side of the court, even though she wasn't on the court. Just wasn't able to do that, and the Bombers, again, Gabriela Gonzalez Abreu, there's nothing I would rather not do in Ithaca athletics than receive one of her spikes.
Soft touch over. Here comes Harrison. Had the save last time, still on the side of the Panthers. It looks like it will go the side of the Bombers. A touch on the net will give it to Ithaca. 16-11 your score, largest gap of the night. Moving fast here, Peyton Miller begins. Serves toward the back, kept in front by Keller, the libero. Soft touch over, and contacts Hampton's hands and goes out of reach for any blue in the way. Listen, you might not have an easy time distinguishing between both sides. Of course, blue and white, and a similar shade for Middlebury as well. Ithaca is on the left side for the moment. Slavin hits over. Hampton straight into hands, and the block goes in favor of the Panthers. 16-13 in favor of the Bombers. And of course, the Bombers are on your left. Middlebury are on your right. 16-13 serve over by Keller. Here's Slavin now for Gonzalez Abreu. Off some hands. It tips and goes toward the side of the Bombers. 14 for the Panthers at the moment. 16 now for Ithaca College. Keller serves it over. Goes for Slavin. Soft touch. She fakes the shot. Keeps it up. Are the Panthers. Gabby O'Toole. Hard strike over. Bombers redeem. Gonzalez Abreu. Powerful strike. And a good block by Pribish. That shuts it down.
Gabby Pribish on defense has been absolutely amazing. Again, the undoing of the Bombers in their few losses last season was the disparity in blocks. They got outblocked in almost every one of their losses. I believe it was every one. And Pribish right now is showing out for Middlebury's defense, something that if you can shut down Gabby Gonzalez Abreu like Gabby Pribish has been able to do when she gets up there to block, you've got to expect Middlebury to put up a fight, maybe earn themselves a set or two, or maybe upsets the Bombers.
Definitely has been an interesting thing to watch as we take a brief break here. 16-15 the score at the moment. It's great to have you with us here on Bombers Sports. Devin Jarvis on your coverage alongside Matt Giavoni. And Matt, we come into this one, Bombers with a 14-1 score. Of course, they beat Rochester earlier today. Star of that match, Naomi Claus, in her 3 sets played. 10 kills in that one. And Ithaca comes out standing at 3 wins and 1 loss. Tara Stillwell, the new coach, and she's made some changes as we've seen early in this game. Ellie Benedict, now the starting libero. Usually that role belongs to Julia Costa. Of course, we haven't seen much action from the freshman, but who is getting in as setter is Wesley Slavin. Also a name we didn't see much of toward the back half of the season that the Bombers put up. We didn't see her come in as a setter. We saw her come in other formats, but now she seems to be the main assister that the Bombers have to offer. So now we begin once again. Bombers acting early. Soft touch by Hampton, kept in the air by Keller. Other side, Panthers, pink corners. Finds a nice spot, and we're drawn up at 16 apiece.
Yeah, and Devin, to your earlier point, Benedict does come in as that starting libero now, but Costa still comes in as a defensive specialist. She is going to find ways to contribute still this season.
Keller serves over. Gonzalez Abreu straight into the hands of Gabby Pribish once again.
That's going to be a fun battle to watch all night. Gabriela Gonzalez Abreu wins that one, partly because she just seems to hit it harder and harder every time she gets a chance.
It's been going back and forth. Pribish won the one before that, but now it's Samantha Clem on the service line. Bombers get their first in 5. And with a chance to serve. Clem goes over, center, back toward the Bombers. Set now by Slavin, other side for Claus, powerful swing, center court.
Naomi Claus, one of the more interesting stories from last season. She had a very underrated season, but got kind of overshadowed by her teammate in the same graduating class as her, Gabriela Gonzalez Abreu. Both of them future superstars, if not already superstars, for this Bomber team.
Back for Clem, far serve. Keller keeps it high. Now we go for Caldwell, blocked by Hampton. Coming once again, this one, Pribish gets the better of the Bombers. A good strike as the middle blocker keeps it within 1. And we go back to Molly Harrison. She has 19 service aces on the year last year, played in 85 sets, started 18 of 25 matches. Her serve comes for Clem. Slavin lifts it up, soft touch over. Hampton with a nice play, but it goes back for the Panthers. Slavin hustling once again. Claus, big swing. Keller keeps it high. Once again, back row. Harrison straight into the net.
And there's the Bombers showing that they can block too. Naomi Claus gets up there, and she was one of the few Bombers that was able to get some blocks in there last season, something that she's been able to do early today in that game against Rochester, and then right there on that one.
Now to Benedict on the service line. Other way for Caldwell, kept high by Clem. Here's the set, and Claus gets it again. She was electric earlier today and has got herself 4 kills already in the first set.
And that's what's good about the depth of the Bombers is if you need a momentum changer, if you're playing a close set, being able to bring in somebody like Claus, being able to bring in somebody like Gonzalez Abreu or Ella Graper or Faith Sabatier, there's names I could rattle off all day. They've got so many different contributors, and that depth is really important to get them the advantage in close games and to be able to get them a few points in a row.
It really is fascinating and so much fun to watch the duo of Claus and Gonzalez Abreu. Of course, you wouldn't call them a duo because they don't interact with each other much on the court, but they are both from that freshman class of last year. And they make this volleyball team, and I selfishly say this, so exciting for the next 2 years, Matt, because I'm going to be able to follow them for the next 2 years to watch how high they go. Even next year, when you have a more mature version of both Claus and Gonzalez Abreu, Graper with 1 more year under her belt, Ellie Benedict the same. The future of this Bomber volleyball team seems to have the sky as the limit, which is scary if you're part of the Liberty League. I would say the best team on campus last year for the Bombers, athletics in general, were Ithaca. They had no contest against them in the Liberty League playoffs. We saw them go on just 1 game shy of reaching the quarterfinals nationally. And they've been really solid to start the year. Only 1 game dropped so far, or rather matched so far, against Stevens Institute of Technology. We resume again. Benedict serves it and digs it out now. Claus soft touch over, kept in high, by Harrison. Other side, good block by Graper. Caldwell had the try. It goes out of bounds, though. And back for Caldwell now to serve. 2018 your score in favor of the Ithaca Bombers. A packed Ben Light Gymnasium for the last match of the night. Caldwell goes over. Clem and Benedict both try for it. Miscommunication, and they'll pay.
Yeah, and going back to that loss against Stevens, Stevens has had Ithaca's number 2 years in a row now. They lost that same match around the same time last year, so an unfortunate loss for them to take early in the season, but they're going to want to win all 3 of their Bomber Invitational games to come back.
Tough serve by Caldwell, trapped up against the net. Graper is able to keep it alive. Claus tries once again. This one gets Harrison to her knees, goes to the other side for the Bombers. Backhanded touch by Slavin, gets it. Oh my goodness. You don't see that often from a setter jumping up to the heights of the net. But Slavin can do it all. 21-19 the score. Bombers 4 away from taking down the first here against Middlebury. Slavin on the serve. Strikes over. Catches a bit of the net. Keeps it high. Graper with 2 hands shuts it down. Now Harrison on the other side. She goes for Caldwell. Good strike into the blocking hands of Graper. No luck for the Bombers. Back for the Panthers to serve.
And the Bombers give you that kind of highlight play that you see every once in a while within their volleys, but Middlebury still able to keep it close, and it's certainly not Bomber dominance we saw in their opening game against Rochester today.
A little bit struggle of a second set for the Bombers as the first service error comes out from Gabby Pribish. She had 3 on her year last year, gets her first of the year after that swing. 22-20, and that's where a service error just gets a little bit more costly if you are on the side of Middlebury. Julia Costa, the libero from last season, steps in as a graduate student for the serve. Kept high by Pribish, now going for Caldwell. Good dig out by Benedict. Gabby Gonzalez-Abreu to strike over. Once again for Harrison, and the block by Graper gets it done. 2 away. 23-20 your score. Bombers on top. And Costa gets it back, looking to end the set with the ball in her hands. She'll dribble it twice as the crowd cheers. Hit over, going to the right side. Pribish now. She goes for Caldwell. Diving is Benedict to keep alive. Set for Gonzalez-Abreu. Big swing and out. Crowd fired up here from Ben Light Gymnasium. And Gonzalez-Abreu with her 5th kill of the night. Her and Claus lead the entire field in that category. 24-20, 1 away. Costa strikes over. Kept high by Harrison. A set now. Harrison keeps over. Now for Slavin. Graper gets the back left corner. Oh, what a shot. First set goes Bomber way.
And the crowd getting into it, everybody kind of brought up the Bomber momentum. Gabriela Gonzalez-Abreu, Ella Graper, they're feeling themselves out there, and the level of confidence seems to have risen over those past few serves.
They clearly got stronger as the time went on. Tally the stats here for you. Molly Harrison leads the side of the Panthers with 4 kills. Lily Caldwell with 3. The rest of the bunch with 1. And on the side of the Bombers, Naomi Claus and Gabby Gonzalez-Abreu with 5 apiece. Faith Sabatier with 3. Wesley Slavin, an interesting name, up there with 2. And Hampton as well as Graper, each with 1 respectively. We'll take a short break here from Ben Light Gymnasium. Send things to a 2-minute intermission where Matt Giovanni and I will have your coverage for set 2 when we come back.
Welcome back here from Ben Light Gymnasium. Just about 20 seconds left in the intermission here. Matthew Giavoni joined back here with Devin Jarvis. And Devin, one of my favorite things about these intermissions is the coach's ability to let the players kind of talk through what happened in the previous series before going in there and giving their own feedback. Something that I think is uber important in volleyball because it really is a team effort on every single serve.
It really is, and you got to appreciate how each coach adapts their style. Sometimes it'll be the captain who takes the couple minutes to talk to the team. Other times it will be the coach herself. Tara Stillwell has commanded this roster exceptionally. She has a one-set lead at the moment against this Middlebury team, who's probably the toughest in the field at the Bomber Invitational, other than, of course, the Ithaca Bombers. But at the end of the day, you got to appreciate what she's doing and how she has managed this team early, especially for a team that was so committed to Johan Dulfer. He'd only been there for 8 years, and that might sound like a long time, but for these coaches at a high level, if they're not going to another school, you usually imagine them to be there for a long time. She's really commanded the locker room well. She was here as an Ithaca player and coach for a little while, and it's just shown her effect immediately. Strong first set against Middlebury, Ithaca had, and let's see if they can keep it going, Matt.
Julia Costa to get this one started. She ended that first set with 4 straight points for the Bombers. Costa's serve over, dug up, sent over the net, slammed down, saved for the moment. Middlebury taking it back, tapped over the net. Slavin puts it back up. Benedict slams, and that one goes out of bounds off the hands of Faith Sabatier. Or no, they're going to say it was inbounds. It must have been on the line there. Faith Sabatier gets things started with her first kill of the second set.
Sabatier now 4 for herself. She's been exceptional, was the star of other than Naomi Claus earlier today.
Set back up, slammed down by Middlebury. Back up by the Bombers. Sabatier just taps that one over, and she's going to get the second point on the board in this set for the Bombers. Faith Sabatier coming out, contributing early in the second set.
You can see her get off to a quick start here. Now 3 Bombers, each with 5 kills of their own.
Julia Costa continues to serve. That one's set up, just pushed over the line, and that'll go down. Gabby O'Toole for the Panthers.
And now you like to see the Bombers get into situations where they're going to have to do some receiving here. So they're not always going to be able to have this much opportunity to serve, so you get to see either side, and it gets a little more exciting.
Ellie Benedict, 2 digs on this one, sent over. Middlebury looking to respond, set up, slammed to the left side of the Bomber backcourt. Just sent over the net, stuck a little bit, and that one goes over for the Bombers. Wesley Slavin, I believe, had the last touch on that one.
How about just the slap over? Ella Graper is credited for the kill. And you got to look at the fact that she's been a powerful weapon for this Bomber team as a middle blocker. She gets her blocks in when she can, is leading the team right now with 2, and also has 2 kills on top of it.
And the serve right there from Graper. Also the dig, but doesn't go their way. The Bombers concede that point off the hands of Molly Harrison for the Panthers. Middlebury now, it's going to be Ella Pat with the serve. Pate, I should say, getting ready for her first serve of the second set. Bombers up 3-2. Ella Pate gets it over. Benedict sets it up. Slavin, another set, and that one slammed for the moment and off the hands of the Middlebury defense coming from Faith Sabatier.
There we go. 3 of the 4 points right now that the Bombers have, all attributed to number 21, or rather 23, Faith Sabatier.
Who's number 23 with those. Ella Graper also a main contributor. However, this time slammed down for the moment by Middlebury. Gets back up by the Bombers, and that one's going to go down. Josie Hampton, the senior, contributing early in this game. Serve now coming from the Bombers. Middlebury gets it for now, trying to save it. Doesn't get it over the net. And the Bombers will take a 6-2 lead early here in the second set.
Such a great addition, Josie Hampton. We didn't see her at all for the 2023 season, but in 2021, 2022 appeared in 8 and 4 respectively. She's making her impact early in the senior season.
Middlebury looking to get it back over, sends it over for a minute. Bombers have it back. Gabriela Gonzalez-Abreu gets it in the corner.
Just a massive swing. And the worst part about it is St. John Fisher sitting in the crowd having to watch Gabriela Gonzalez-Abreu do what she does best. A little intimidating, I imagine, for their tomorrow's matchup.
Gabriela Gonzalez-Abreu attempts a block, doesn't go. Bombers trying to get it over, and they can't get it done. Middlebury gets their third on the board.
Costa and Miller both wanted it. Miscommunication leads to an error on their part, but no problem. Bombers have been good at their reception so far and have one with a chance here.
It'll be Campbell Keller, the Panthers' libero, to serve here, and that one was slammed down by Gabriela Gonzalez-Abreu. No chance for a defensive dig there.
When she gets good contact onto it, it might be one of the most lethal swings in all of Division III volleyball. Such a great recruit that Coach Johan Dolfer and Moore brought in, and really a treat now for Tara Stillwell to, kick her feet up and watch her players dominate.
Middlebury slammed down, dug for a second, goes back over the net. Middlebury one more time, behind the back set. Bombers have control. Slammed down by Claus, but doesn't go over. The block, Bombers get it over once again. Middlebury to set. Touch, and that one goes down off the hands of Lillian Caldwell.
One thing to note about that is when Slavin was able to keep it alive with her one hand, she was smiling. She thought it was fun. And talking to Johan Dolfer last year, one of the big ways you know if Ithaca is on point for what they're good at is if they're talking. If you hear them talking a lot, that's when they're doing well. That's when they're comfortable in the moment. If they are not, I guess you could talk about the bench too. If the bench isn't loud, and if the players on the court aren't loud, that's when you know there's a problem. Right now, the Bombers are quite loud, and the bench the same.
A rare mistake there from Naomi Claus, but she is one of the happiest people on campus from what I've heard from the people that have been able to interview her. As she's had a great day so far here in the first day of the Bomber Invitational. Bombers looking to set it up. Claus with the slam off the hands of two Middlebury defenders. And the Bombers lead 9-5.
Claus makes an error, comes back, and gets it done. Playing with her fingers there, though, something to note. Both her index and her middle finger she was paying close attention to. We hope that's not something more, but if she does kind of slow down her pace, might be something to look at.
If she's got to slow down her pace, Gabriela Gonzalez-Abreu will be speeding hers up. That time, though, slammed down for a second by Ella Graper. However, Middlebury able to recover. Ella Graper one more time, but it's blocked. Bombers still have it alive. Naomi Claus now with the slam. And it's just back and forth the digs on this one. That one goes down, sent back over by the Bombers. Middlebury, another slam. That time it goes.
What a valiant effort on both sides to dive for as many as they could. Middlebury makes more dives and ends up winning the point. Maybe the more effort you put into it will reward you with the victory on it. But just a phenomenal rally back and forth. That's what you get to see when you're watching good volleyball.
Gabby Pravish had the kill, and she's had such a good game so far here in the early going. Served over the net. Bombers can't place it where they want to go. And the point's going to go Middlebury way. 9-7 now in the second set of this one. Bombers took the first set 25-20. The serve coming from Lillian Caldwell. Caldwell steps up, gets that one over the net. Peyton Miller, first touch. Naomi Claus set up. It's able to be saved by Middlebury. Set back the other way. Bombers. Ella Graper. Middlebury able to handle for a second up into the rafters. Have to get it over. Ellie Benedict. Slavin one more to Claus, but it gets blocked. Benedict one more. Slavin. That one goes down for Ella Graper.
Once again, a phenomenal rally that we get to see. And you don't even have some of the top players. Sabatier coming in now. You didn't have her for an extended period of time. Of course, we haven't seen any of Anaya Prince tonight. We haven't seen, of course, Gonzalez-Abreu in at the moment, and no Maddie Cox. This is how deep the team is for Ithaca, and it will show as the time goes on. Once they start facing those better teams, you get into longer 4 or 5 set matches. That's when it becomes a little bit more exciting for either side, and we get to see probably more of this roster as time goes on.
That Molly Harrison attack off the hands of Ella Graper for a Middlebury point. Serve goes. Bombers set up. Claus with a tough slam. in the rafters. Middlebury locates. Slammed back the other way. Benedict digs for the moment. Slavin set. Claus. And that one goes out of bounds. Middlebury gets one more. Only down 10-9 now.
I think it got to an early lead and has kind of fallen a little bit. Only 1 point now, and Middlebury's done a great job all night to keep themselves in it.
Gabby Prebish able to serve that one there, and she's going to get credited with a service ace. Now 10-10. Second set tied here. Gabby Prebish, one more. Gets it over. Claus with the first touch. Second touch, have to get it over here. They do for the moment. Middlebury now looking to respond. Set up and blocked by Ella Graper and Naomi Claus.
Ella Graper gets it again. She's come up clutch here in the second set. Has 4 kills now, and ranks 4th on the team. Among the others, it's Gonzalez Abreu, Claus, and Sabatier. Gonzalez Abreu now subbed back into the game, and Claus comes out.
Julia Costa also back in with the serve there. Middlebury looking to respond. Spiked there. And that's going to be another Middlebury point.
Good strike by Ava Tuccio. Started 19 of 25 last year and had a pretty high swing percentage, 336 when she was successful.
Serve coming from the Panthers. Bombers looking to respond. Slavin with the set. Slammed down. Faith Sabatier.
Got to an early start. Sabatier cooled off on the bench for a little bit. Now she's back out there making the difference. What a great front line. You got Hampton, Sabatier, and Gonzalez Abreu with Slavin for sets.
Graper with the serve. Able to dig is the Panthers. Touched over. Slavin saves it. Bombers set one more. Sabatier tried for it. Touched. Bombers have one more touch here. Slavin sends it over. Going back the way of the Panthers. Tough spike there for Lauren Baxter.
Drawn up at 12. It's staying within a margin of 1 for these last 4 points on either side. You bring things back to Ella Pate, who's been pretty successful on the service line so far tonight for Middlebury.
Ella Pate with the serve. Benedict sets it up to Wesley Slavin. Sabatier sends it over. Middlebury back the other way. That one's blocked for the moment. Gabriela Gonzalez Abreu with the touch, but the Bombers aren't able to recover.
They're losing the battle at the net right now. A lot of the blocks that they're being thrown aren't able to be recovered by the Bombers, and of course, just doing a great job right now is Middlebury to put their strikes in difficult spots for Ithaca to defend.
Ella Pate gets things started. Faith Sabatier with the attack attempt, but it gets blocked. Ava Tuccio comes in middle of this second set, and she's contributed. And the Bombers will take the first time out of this second set, knotted up here at 13.
Dara Stillwell calls that one. And it was kind of after a short break when you didn't know what point it was going to go toward, but it does end up in the hands of the Bombers, and now you get things to calm down. 13-13 the score. Ithaca not playing to their best here in the second set. That's exactly where we saw them falter a little bit in the second set earlier today against Rochester, but they cool off and just make sure things are right. Matt, it's been a fun one, but you got to wonder what type of rotation they're going to bring in here. If they go to a third set up 2-0, do you see them bringing in the freshman?
I think you've got to, especially up against a team as tough as Middlebury, who's really going to be their toughest competition, on paper at least, in this Bomber Invitational. You have to look towards Middlebury as maybe a challenge for these freshmen who, after the last year's freshman class, Naomi Claus, Gabriela Gonzalez Abreu specifically, you want to get your freshmen in there. You want to see what they can do up against tough competition. Middlebury, not ranked like the Bombers currently, but they went 2 rounds deep into the playoffs. This is a tough team.
McGowan, Prince, Atland, Strachan, as well as Cox, Owen, Weiss, and Brown, all not seeing time quite yet.
And my correction, during that timeout, the scoreboard was changed. Middlebury has a 14-12 lead over the Bombers.
Looks like there's some conversation about it now to see what it's confirmed as.
Maybe they didn't see it either. I don't think we were the only ones that missed that one at the end, and they've changed it back to 13-13 now.
Originally was 14-14, so looks like an extra point for either side.
A little bit of confusion there. However, Peyton Miller will get us started. The score is 13-13 still. Second set, Peyton Miller serves. That one's dug up for a second set by Gabby O'Toole. Slammed down, and no Bomber able to handle it. Molly Harrison with the kill.
Middlebury points. Now serving number 2, Campbell Keller.
Campbell Keller getting ready to serve now for Middlebury. Their first lead in a while. Campbell Keller isn't able to get that one over, and the Bombers tie things right back up by not doing anything. 14-14 now.
Strong possession by them. Now you bring in Clem, you bring in Claus. Take off Costa and Gonzalez Abreu.
Then again, we've talked about this depth. Both of them, you take off 2, add 2. It doesn't really define what they're going to be able to do out there. Slammed down from Middlebury, Lillian Caldwell. She's had a good night on that left side.
She's showing it now. Most of the leads that only at one point, for only 1 point, did Middlebury have the lead last set. Now they've had it for quite a few here. Picking up the pace as the Bombers have faltered.
Ava Tuccio off that serve. Naomi Claus had a decent attack, was defended well. Naomi Claus got it on the second one.
Whoever you throw on that left side, whether it be Claus, whether it be Gonzalez Abreu, the outside hitter duo between those two players is just so dynamic. You get one to rest, you put the other in. A great lineup that you have at 2 deep that could probably play for most teams in the nation.
Ellie Benedict with the serve, doesn't get it over the net. Middlebury takes a 16-15 lead here in this second set. It'll be Lillian Caldwell, has had such a good second set so far with the serve for Middlebury. Lillian Caldwell steps up, gets that one over the net. Bombers get it up, set by Slavin. Graper able to get it down, no block to be seen for the Panthers, and it's knotted up again at 16.
Ball walks the tightrope for a few seconds there, and I feel like whichever side it fell on, it was going to be the deficit of that side, and that's exactly right. Goes in favor of the Bombers, back for Slavin. And 2 now, back-to-back service errors.
And the Bombers, that's something that didn't necessarily struggle with a ton last year, but in a close set like this, definitely not the problems that you're going to want to see. Zoe Strassen now gets it over the net. Bombers looking to get things going. Faith Sabatier sends it too far, and Middlebury, for the first time in what seems like forever, takes a 2-point lead, 18-16.
First time in forever, as in forever, Matt, because they haven't had a 2-point lead all time tonight. 7 points away from taking this second set. Bombers just struggling as they did last time.
Slavin with the set, Claus touches, and nobody home for the Panthers. And the Bombers, when they need a shift in momentum, they're able to send in Julia Costa and Gabriela Gonzalez Abreu. That's a pretty good way to jolt momentum.
It seems like the rotating duo is Costa paired with Gonzalez Abreu, trading out for Clem and Naomi Claus. That's the big rotation right now, and you see some other positions switch, but that's been consistent.
Costa sends it over. Middlebury. Gabby O'Toole didn't have the set, and it's Ella Graper with the kill for the Bombers. Costa, another serve. She's been good behind the service line so far tonight. Costa gets it over. Panthers for the moment. Gabby O'Toole sets it up. A touch from Tuccio, and that's going to be in. No, they're going to say it's out. Bombers get the point on that one.
Just barely skipped out, Matt. Narrowly, the Bombers get away with it.
Middlebury will take their first time out. Down 19-18. They had a 2-point lead for a second there, but it's really been back and forth. A close second set here. It was a close first set, but the Bombers were able to take that lead right there at the end.
It has, and Bombers regain it, but they can't get too confident here. It's really important that they stay composed, and, you know, Ella Graper's talking to him now with Julia Costa. Tara Stillwell's a moment outside of the huddle. But 19-18, they have the lead. They really need to stay locked in.
And the Bombers, I feel like the first time that we knew how good this team was going to be last season was the Bomber Invitational in their game up against Johns Hopkins, who was ranked going into that game. Ithaca was unranked. This year, a little bit of an opposite situation where Ithaca is the ranked team and all the teams coming in here kind of finding out how they're going to be against the ranked opponent in the Bombers.
Yeah, Johns Hopkins last year was the one game that Ithaca dropped of SUNY Geneseo and Susquehanna. So I guess you could compare it, Ithaca not quite to the level of Johns Hopkins from last season. They were still ranked themselves when they were going into that Bomber Invitational. But sure, something to note as we keep it going.
The Bombers now looking to take set number 2. Serve goes over. Middlebury, the dig successful. O'Toole sets. And Tuccio isn't able to get anything down. Faith Sabatier, a touch, a float. And they're going to say a touchdown. Bombers point.
5 away now. They're to the 20 mark for the first time against this Middlebury team twice here. They did it in the first, did it in the second. Good control here. Now Costa, who was the server when the Bombers won the set just one time ago, has a chance to do it again if she goes 5 straight.
Julia Costa had a good end to that first set. And the point goes Ithaca's way off of a touching the net foul from the Panthers.
21-18. Costa needs to continue her momentum. She gives it away. It could slip out of Ithaca's grasp if they're not careful.
Julia Costa, the lone grad student on this team, knows the big situations. Middlebury looking to get something set, sent over by Caldwell, and they're going to call a double touch there on Caldwell. Ithaca up 4 now, 22-18 in this second set.
Now the only double touch that is legal now is when you're doing it with both of your hands as if you're setting. New rule in Division III volleyball, or rather NCAA volleyball as a whole, is you can double touch on a set. So you might see some intricacies come to that because of the spin you can put on sets, which would make, of course, your kill attempts even more powerful.
O'Toole with the set. Tuccio gets it down, and Middlebury gets back on the board for the first time in 6 points.
Wide as this gap, the gap is as wide as it's been for quite a while now.
Gets over the net is the Panthers. Bombers looking to set up, slams down, and the Panthers can't take control. Faith Sabatier is responsible for that one. Ella Graper with the serve. She gets it over. Dug for a second. Bombers block. Middlebury looking to get something going. O'Toole sets it up. Slammed for a second. Bombers dig now. Looking to get it back the other way. Faith Sabatier slams it down. Middlebury gets it over. Was Lillian Caldwell. Bombers looking to get it back. Faith Sabatier one more time. The Panthers keep it alive. Slapped far back, and that was way too far for the Panthers. Devin McCormick had not seen playing time going in to this game, of course, because she is a first year.
One more chance, the Bombers get an opportunity. Can end it right here with Graper on the service line. Had the first service ace of the day.
Ella Graper gets it over the net. McCormick to O'Toole to Tuccio, and Tuccio with the push there is going to end the second set. Bombers 25, Middlebury 19.
Can't do that. You kind of held on to it for too long, pushed it as if it were a shot put almost, Giovanni, but hey, Bombers go up 2. They don't have to worry about the contest that they had earlier in that set. Strong performance in set number 2. You get a 3-minute break until you come back.
Absolutely, and we are going to take that break right now and switch over to the third set. Keep it right here. We'll be right back for the potential conclusion of Ithaca against Middlebury in the Bomber Invitational, final game of your Friday night.
welcome you back here to Ben Light Gymnasium for set number 3 between the Ithaca Bombers and the Middlebury Panthers. Devin Jarvis alongside Matthew Giavoni for your coverage here on the Bombers Sports YouTube channel. We've got a wonderful crowd that join us in person for this game in Ben Light Gymnasium. Teams like the men's basketball team, of course, St. John Fisher women's volleyball team, and more, joining us as patrons and viewers of this spectacular showing of Division III volleyball. The two top teams this weekend for the Bomber Invitational are among both the Ithaca Bombers and the Middlebury Panthers. It's been a fun one so far, both going so far as sets go in the way of the Bombers, Matt.
Of course, Devin, and we talked about earlier the exciting weekend we have on tap. Of course, Ithaca kicks off its football season tomorrow, and I don't want to speak too soon. I think football and volleyball are going to rival each other this fall for which sport is the Bombers' best sport. Of course, football does get the more popularity, but this Bombers team has looked good so far, and they've been able to take these sets towards the end. Even though they've been competitive, they've been able to take them when they need to.
Both teams won at least one NCAA playoff game. Each team both won the Liberty League last year, so I guess you have another year to see who will take the title of the best team in the fall season of Ithaca College. We begin here with Middlebury to start. They're going to begin their serves with Gabby O'Toole. Far side serve. Costa digs it out. Slavin now for Sabatier. Big swing, paints the corner. Nice 1-0 start for the Bombers. And the shuffle from the bench. They got them loud, and you know what that means, Matt. It means they're feeling nice and ready for the rest of this game. Ella Graper, who ended the set last time for the Bombers, starts up here. 1-0 as the Bombers take the lead. Blocked in front by Hampton. It goes a double touch against the side of the Panthers. 2-0 the start, and the Bombers once again hand it back to Ella Graper on the service line.
Yeah, I understand what Gabby O'Toole was thinking there, just a little too eager to get a hold of that one, and unfortunately doesn't go her way as the Bombers get off to an early lead in this set.
Graper goes over, she'll dig it out, but it goes far. Can't keep that one alive, so 2-1. First draw on the board the Panthers have, and they bring in a substitution of Ella Pate to begin their third set at the service line.
And Devin, I'm getting some serious deja vu. Haven't all three sets started basically the exact same way? The Bombers want them to end the same way, but it has been competitive so far throughout the duration of these sets.
Slavin sets up Sabatier and delivers. 3-1 the score, kill by Sabatier. She's now in double digits for the night.
And Sabatier has just been, I'm trying to attribute a sport, maybe archery, with how accurate she's been on some of these kill attempts.
How about the ace now from Peyton Miller? Nobody was better on this Bombers squad than her at the service line, and she shows why. Gets the first clean ace with no touches of this match. 4-1, serves once again. Kept high. Caldwell keeps it in the air. And sandwich against it. Lillian Caldwell tried for it, but can't lift it over the net. Bombers with their best start of the evening. 5-1 the score, and Peyton Miller for her third swing from the service line. Hard strike over. Keller keeps it high. Far side now for Harrison. Benedict the dig. Setting up Hampton. Now free ball over. Costa to Sabatier. Nothing there. Once again back for Caldwell. Costa digs it out. Slavin sets. Gonzalez Abreu. This one. Keller keeps the libero high. Back for Caldwell. Great dig by Costa. Miller's two-touch over. Now back for Gabby O'Toole. Big swing by Harrison. Dive by Gonzalez Abreu. She can't keep it alive. Goes around the net. And the second point of the set goes toward the Panthers.
I mean, Devin, those are the most fun sets to play. You've got to imagine just the adrenaline running through, but also when you lose that set, when it goes as long as it does, it's got to sting for the losing side. The winning side, however, a momentum builder.
Too much power from Gonzalez Abreu on the outside. 5-3 remains the score. And the Bombers lead just 20 away from their second win of the weekend. They started out 2-0 last weekend, dropped their third to Stevens. Slavin for Gonzalez Abreu, kept high off the rafters. O'Toole here for Harrison. Free ball over. Benedict keeps it high. Now back for Gonzalez Abreu, straight into the blockers, denied by Pribish.
Gonzalez Abreu is one of the few players that when she gets hot, and she let everybody knows it with how much she celebrates, the amount of energy she's able to bring to the rest of the team.
Looks like it was Pribish who touched the net there, so it goes back. Now for Samantha Clem. Good dig by Caldwell over far side. Back for Caldwell after the Harrison dig. Soft touch over on this set by Slavin. Keeps in the air. Caldwell, big swing off the net. Slavin will set. Go for Claus. Big swing. And once again, Benedict keeps it alive. Claus tries for two. This time digged out by Keller. Claus with the set once again. Now for Peyton Miller. Far side. Claus finds the hardwood.
And you had to give it to Claus there. Early in that volley, she ended up on the floor. There was a little bit of a miscommunication, and she collided with one of her teammates, was on the floor for a second, gets back up, and eventually gets the kill for the Bombers.
7-3 back now for Clem on the far side to serve. 4-point lead. Bombers only 22 away from the win. Big swing by Caldwell straight into the blocked hands of Wesley Slavin and Josie Hampton. Clem gets it back, her third set of the series. 8-3 your score. Bombers on top by 2 sets. Lifted far side. Harrison, not too hard of a swing. O'Toole now for Harrison. Kept in front by Benedict. Other side, Claus can't keep it inside. So Gabby O'Toole goes soft touch for Caldwell. Can't find a way over the net. 9-3 the score. Bombers with their biggest lead of the night against this Middlebury team who has shown few signs of brightness in this third set.
And Middlebury has had some good moments in the first and second set, but I feel like losing that second set was really demoralizing for them, and it's going to be tough for them to get mentally back into this one.
Caldwell blocked by Hampton, but she gets her revenge. Back left corner. Pulls back an arrow and snipes it.
And something you've got to mention is the fact that we haven't seen really any blocks recently from the Panthers so far in this set, something that we saw a lot in the first 2 sets.
Reception by Benedict, set by Slavin. It's kept alive by the Panthers. Other side, Caldwell pulls it out. Just a little bit too much force. She came around on it, and just like my golf swing, she pulled the shot.
I feel like she's seen Gabriela Gonzalez-Abreu and the power she puts on hers and trying her best to implement that. That was a hard hit ball, but unfortunately lost some of the accuracy in getting that much force behind it.
10-4, Benedict for the serve. She finds O'Toole. O'Toole lifts it up, hit over by Harrison. Dug out by Clem, set here to Graper. This one, good block by Pribish. Gets the better of the Bombers this time around.
And there you go. You need those blocks if you're Middlebury. It's something that you have up on Ithaca. Again, blocking hasn't been this team's strong suit since last season, and they've gotten a couple tonight, but realistically, that's something that Middlebury can definitively be better than them at in the defensive side of the ball.
How about Devin McCormick now? First sign on the hardwood of the evening. Clem will get the reception. Slavin now sets up Graper, uses a fist to get it back right, but Harrison digs it out. McCormick now goes to the other side, and Claus gets her turn. Off some blockers' hands, now back for O'Toole. Big swing by Pribish, finds the hardwood. And 3 straight points now for the side of the Panthers.
And Middlebury's not going to go quietly. Again, it's about staying in this game. Ben Light Gymnasium pretty packed for the situation of being a little bit later on a Friday night, but Middlebury has to try to stay in it as much as possible.
10-6. Clem receives. Now for Graper on the Slavin set. Goes the other way. O'Toole now sets up Pribish. Soft touch with one hand. Now for Miller. Claus big swing. Kept now alive by Keller. Libero goes for Pribish. She tries for her shot. Can't go. Claus the other way. Out of bounds off the block of Pribish. Bombers get it and reach 11-6 as their score up by 5. Only 14 away from closing out the first day of the Bomber Invitational.
I can't talk enough about Wesley Slavin and the contribution she's had this game, the ability to place her sets exactly where she wants every time. One of the many reasons why she's kind of taken the starting role as the setter.
Slavin serves and shifts in. She'll have the set now for Sabatier, who just goes a little low. Block by the Panthers, shuts it down 11-7. Pribish now on the service line. 11 games played last year, only one start. She'll start with this serve. Clem reception. Slavin now sets up Claus. Can't get it to go from the right side. And the Bombers get another. Dig goes out of bounds. And you bring back in Keller for Pribish after only one serve she'll get to show. Costa comes back up, who's been one of the better members of this Bomber team from the service line tonight. Gonzalez Abreu comes back in alongside Ella Graper. 11-7 the serve from Costa. Strong strike to her knees as Harrison. Backhanded pushover by O'Toole. Gonzalez Abreu tries to find some space, but it goes back over. Harrison now getting for Sabatier. She touches over, can't get it. Bombers keep it alive. Slavin sets up Gonzalez Abreu. Good keep up by Keller. Lifted in the air by Harrison, just a bit far. Not in bounds to do anything with. Rather, Ava Tuccio can't get it to go.
Ava Tuccio has been pretty good so far tonight in being able to find those spots, just wasn't able to there. And Middlebury's got a lot to talk about, I think, in this timeout. We've seen some good things from them so far this set, but the Bombers have had their most dominant set of the night.
It's been quite the action from the Bombers in this one. They got to an early 9-3 lead. It ended up coming back to 10-6. Now 13-7 is where we stand between the Bombers and the Panthers here on Bombers Sports YouTube channel. Devin Jarvis and Matt Giavoni for your coverage. Quick timeout on the side of the Panthers before we come back. Where do you see this rest of the set going? Do you think it's going to stay competitive, or do you think it's going to be a runaway train for the Bombers?
Well, I'm looking at the two different huddles here. I love the view from Ben Light Gymnasium. You get that eagle-eye view into the huddles. The Bombers are not really surprising me. They get serious in their huddles, but they also love to have a good time. That's the identity of this team. They're always having a good time. They're always smiling. You never see them, even in the losses, they can always find positives in it. Then you look over at Middlebury, and they're getting more serious here now. Not necessarily not having a good time. Of course, that's why you come out here, but Middlebury has to go over some strategy. We've seen good things out of them tonight, but they're going to need to show a lot of it if they want a chance to come back and take this set.
Ithaca right now sitting at the top of the Liberty League. William Smith dropped one just earlier this week, so it's the solo spot for the Bombers on top. Conference play doesn't start for a little, but we resume back here. 13-7 Bombers over the Panthers. Sandwich at the fence, and it goes for Graper. Costa continues her time, picks the ball up swiftly, and returns back to the point she's had the most success at of anywhere tonight. Bounces it a couple times with two hands, like a pre-shot routine on a free throw. 14-7, this one straight into the net. And I guess you'd call that one a broadcaster's jinx.
That's the first service fault we've seen from Julia Costa all night, and I'll come in your defense here for the broadcaster's jinx. We've been hyping her up all night from the service line because she's really good there, but you give one, you take one, and that's what just happened there.
O'Toole goes and responds with the same thing. Service error for her, 15-8 now. Bombers 10 away, and we go back for Graper, who's maybe been the second best. She was on the line when the Bombers won the second set. She goes with a far serve. O'Toole sets up now for Baxter. Blocked off the hands of the Bombers and just touches the line to keep it in bounds. 16-8, the Bombers with their largest lead of the night.
And Ella Graper, a different service style. She doesn't do that run-up, throw the ball in the air. She does one step, able to get it over the net. She's been pretty efficient tonight, and one of the, again, better servers for the Bombers last season, one of the better servers for the Bombers in their opening tournament earlier this month.
How about 17-8 the score? The thing that makes her serve so dangerous is because of how consistent it is. You never really see service errors out of her, and that's when she gets the aces. Good power as well. Oftentimes goes towards the back of the court when she can. 17-8. This one she goes back with. Kept up by Harrison. Now a chance for Tuccio. Big slam and deliver.
And Tuccio has been great. After not really seeing a lot from her in that first set, the second set she certainly contributed. And even in this third set here, despite the biggest lead we've seen the Bombers have in a set the entire night, Tuccio has still managed to contribute. And one of the key reasons that Middlebury will have to come back into this one if they are able to.
17-9. And the Panthers aren't able to get their serves to work at the moment. Ella Pate, who we've seen in that role more than anyone for this Panther team, goes service error on the far side. We bring things back to Peyton Miller 18-9, Bombers only 7 away. Big swing by her. Pate gets the reception. Dug out by Costa. Slavin now sets up Gonzalez. Abreu on the far side. Hits the net and gets over. Just barely got it. 19-9 your score. Bombers inching closer to their biggest victory of any set this afternoon. Back for Peyton Miller as a timeout is called by the side of the Panthers. And just dominant so far here in this third set.
Yeah, and we've seen a lot of good from the Panthers so far tonight. It's one of the rare cases where, yes, the Bombers are up 2-0. Yes, the Bombers are up 19-9 in the third set, but Middlebury still has to feel like they can come back into this one. They're not going to go down without putting up a fight here at the end of this third set.
That's what we've seen a lot of. It was 13-7 the last timeout, Matt. And since then, it's been a 6-2 outscoring favor of the Bombers. And they keep their spirits high. Dancing is Naomi Claus as she, greets the creative media that we have over there. But that's what you know is if they're dancing, you're probably not winning the game if you're the other team. 19-19 as we resume once again. Peyton Miller to start on the near side.
Yeah, and again, as fun as weird as it seems, the more fun that this Bombers team is having, the more dangerous they are on the court.
No doubt about it. Keller gets the reception, punched over by Gabby O'Toole. She'll get the kill. And double digits now for the Panthers. We'll go back to Keller on the service line. Libero and 5'7" junior out of Perry, Kansas.
Both liberos have struggled on the serves, but Middlebury needs some clumped up points if they're going to come back into this one.
19-10 reception. Now Gonzalez Abreu, one-hand touch over. Keller keeps it alive. Far side now for Harrison. Big swing. Dig by Benedict. This one goes over. Now back for the Bombers. O'Toole lifts it high. Travels over the net again. A good block by Hampton. Set now by Miller. Far side for Gonzalez Abreu. Straight into the hands of Pribish. Now chasing for the Bombers off the rafters. Benedict gets it high. Miller to the other side. She keeps it alive. How about this? O'Toole. Now big swing from McCormick. This one whistle is blown. Who does it go to? What a sequence, and the Bombers miss out on the point. I couldn't keep up with my words, Matt, but the Bombers will lose that one and go on to the next after an excellent rally. Benedict now sets up for Gonzalez Abreu. She tries to go far corner, a bit too much mustard. 19-12 the score.
Devin, I'll give you a pass for that last one. When you have the ball up in the rafters for more than a second or two, it gets really confusing out there. The Bombers almost as confused. It's just everybody looking up, seeing where it is. The teamwork, that's where it comes into play, especially here at Ben Light Gymnasium, where if it gets stuck in the rafters a little bit, it could bounce around there for a while.
Campbell Keller goes with a service error. That's 3 of the last 6 that the Panthers have put out of play. 20-12 now the score. The Bombers are looking for Renee McGowan. Naomi Claus makes a little bit of an error there, but keeps the smile on her face.
And it's just, when you're in this much of a teamwork capacity like you are in volleyball, being able to admit your mistake with a smile like Claus does there just really gets the whole team ready for the next volley.
2013, Hampton goes over. Other way for Harrison. Here's Slavin on the set. Goes far for Klaus. This one is kept in front. Diving is Keller to keep it alive. Another chance now for Klaus against the net. She touches it once, keeps it alive. Free ball over. Back spot, far corner for Slavin. Another free ball over for Pribish. McGowan goes for Slavin, goes for Klaus. Good rally here, back and forth. 2013, Harrison finds some space on the ground.
Middlebury had to earn that point. When you have Claus with that many spike attempts, it's really tough to continuously be able to return it, and Middlebury was able to do it over and over and over again. I believe Claus had like 5 attempts alone on that volley.
Molly Harrison serves over to McGowan. Here's Slavin setting up Claus. This one dug out by Pate. Soft touch over. Claus on the net. Gets it far side, but how about Pribish to reach over and knock it down? She'll touch the net, though, so it goes for the Bombers. Now only 4 away from securing their second victory of the Bomber Invitational.
And Pribish, I was about to say, if she didn't touch the net there, would have been a crazy power on just a touch that she was able to get on that one. Just a little bit of a touch there, though. Unfortunate for her. Fortunate for the Bombers looking to put this one away.
Benedict now. Pribish gets some hands on it, and open space, she delivers.
And then we've seen that multiple times tonight. You make the error on one volley, you come back and get the kill on the next volley. Pribish does it there. We've seen Claus do it a couple times. We've seen even some members that aren't getting those kills, like Wesley Slavin has done it a few times. If they make a mistake, you could be sure that they're going to do it correctly the next volley.
Bombers being outscored 6-2 in their last 8 points. Have a chance here. Graper, big swing. This one, no doubt about it. When she gets a handle on it, you look at other teammates like Gabriela Gonzalez-Abreu for who has the highest ball speed on the team when they get their contact. We got to have a competition like that. I think we got to see who can hit it the hardest of any Ithaca volleyball player.
Yeah, I think we should have an NFL combine, but for volleyball statistics. I think ball speed would be a really interesting one. I still think Gabriela Gonzalez-Abreu wins that.
Devin McCormick is able to lift it over. Claus with a big swing, gets a tip off the blockers. 3 more for the Bombers. Claus will keep it alive. Tries for a chance. Pribish can't do it. Double touch as it goes back in favor of the Bombers. Just a little bit confusion on the net. And 23, the Bombers sit it away. Just 2 from the victory.
And that's the most nerve-wracking position for all of the attackers down there, being right in front of the net with the ball. You don't know what side it's going to go on, so you have to go up there and at least make an attempt, and you never know what's going to happen.
Freshman Jaden Wise comes in. Bombers will have 24 on their mark. 1 away from the second victory and their 4th of the year.
And the Bombers get the point there, but I have to shout out Molly Harrison for even being able to get that dig to make that a volley instead of just a service ace.
24-15. Touches the net on the serve. Big swing by Pribish, goes out of bounds. And that's a Bomber victory. 25-15, your final. You look at the 3 sets, it's 25-19, 25-20, and 25-15. Bombers get better each set, and they show why better than Middlebury tonight. But why were they better, Matt?
Well, in those first 2 sets, it was really a close back and forth for the majority of the set until you get to the very end. And I think it's just the experience of the Bombers, the experience to be able to pull away in those close sets at the very end. What I saw tonight, I really liked from the Bombers. And I think as we go down the road, as they go against other ranked opponents, I really like what I see. And I think the Bombers are going to be as successful, if not more successful, this season. And I look to those skills when we get towards playoff time as a team that's going to be successful in the playoffs.
Sole possession of the Liberty League #1 spot now over William Smith. They've got St. John Fisher tomorrow. Matt, how do we feel about that matchup?
Well, we saw St. John Fisher and Rochester earlier. That game went to 4 sets. St. John Fisher did take the win, but Ithaca dominated Rochester earlier this morning. Again, it could have been early of the season jitters for Rochester. However, with how much of a difference there was in scoring between Ithaca and Rochester, I have to think that they're going to have a little bit of an easier time against St. John Fisher. Maybe a few more of those freshmen get playing time in that one.
We'll have to see, but before that, we got a pregame coming up. Our buddies Rashad and John will have your coverage when we come back right here on Bomber Sports YouTube. We'll see you in just a moment.
the Brooms in Ben Light Gymnasium. Back-to-back 3-0 sweeps for the number 21 ranked Ithaca College Bombers volleyball team. After handling Rochester earlier in the day, they just finished sweeping the Middlebury College Panthers. Hello everyone and welcome to the Postgame Show. I'm Jonathan Falco. This is Rashad Bigelow. And Rashad, what an impressive day for the Bombers. Not just in this game either, because the Bombers were able to tally 2 wins to the record today after just finishing off Middlebury in an impressive showcase, and as I mentioned, sweeping Rochester this afternoon.
Yes, I agree. I think this was a good game today. I think even though this was Middlebury's first game this season, I think they did pretty good against a well-played Ithaca.
You're absolutely right. Not bad for the first game. Obviously, some things to work on, as we'll mention in a little bit. But for my first question, let's tie it back to the Bombers for a second, because what did they do so well that got them past Middlebury this evening?
Well, first off, this team's played a lot so far. They played a couple games before this one, and they played at least maybe 1 or 2 today. And I think that gave them the connection and that faith in winning this game. They already swept the last game, like you said, and I think that's what they wanted this time. And they played together, they played well, and they played coordinated.
They wanted that, and they got it. And you have to give a shout-out to the cardiovascular endurance of this Ithaca Bombers team, playing 2 games today and winning both 3-0 sweeps, keeping it simple, keeping it sweet, a perfect game for the Bombers. But now let's look on the other side, because Middlebury, as we mentioned, played some pretty decent volleyball here, but there were flaws that couldn't give them the victory. And what were those main flaws, Rashad?
I think some of those flaws were just some of the plays that they had. There were some plays where the ball would just go on the opposite side. There was a lot of good defense on Ithaca's side, and I don't think they did terrible, but I just think that they could have done better.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Like, there were copious errors, but you also have to credit Ithaca's offense, because those light little taps were just stunning Middlebury like throughout the 3 sets of this game, catching them off guard almost every single time. And you have to give a great shout-out to this Ithaca Bombers starting roster, and we're going to mention the players in a little bit. But Middlebury, thinking how good of their defense was coming into this game, as I mentioned in the pregame show, the offense carried the Ithaca Bombers, and that's what made it so strong. Their defense, the impressive Middlebury defense, just could not get it going throughout anything. And as the game continued, Ithaca got more comfortable, because they took set 1, 25-20, and then it was roughly around the same for set 2. But then in set 3, it was a 25-15 blowout for set 3. So as deeper as the game went, the Bombers got really comfortable and were able to figure out what they needed to do, what they were messing up, and overall, just an impressive game from the Bombers. But with that being said, out of everybody, this is a really tough one, because out of everybody that played for the Bombers today, who do you think was their MVP, Rashad?
Looking here, there's a lot of players here that did a lot. There was a lot of stars here today. You had Gabriela Gonzalez. She had 11 kills. You had Faith Sabatier. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. She had 11 kills as well. You had Naomi Claus. She had 9 kills. You had Wesley Slavin, who had 32 assists. You had Ellie Benedict, who had 17. So there was a lot of stars out there, and I think I don't know if I can choose one, because I think as a team overall, there was a lot of players that stood out that helped this Ithaca Bombers team over Middlebury.
You're absolutely right. And one to look at is Wesley Slavin with 32 assists. That's unheard of. Guess who second place was in the total assist games?
No idea.
It had 1 assist. The second place had 1 assist throughout the entire game. Wesley Slavin had all the rest of them. It is unheard of. 32 assists in 1 game. Are you kidding me? She is the Chris Paul of this team, as it was shown today. You can honestly, that is my pick for the MVP, because Wesley Slavin creating all the plays, making it happen for Gabriela Gonzalez, as you mentioned, 11 kills, and Faith Sabatier with 11 kills as well. And you also mentioned Naomi Claus, 9 kills. Ellie Benedict playing pretty well on defense, showing there is defensive skill on the Ithaca Bombers team with 17 digs. Overall, impressive on offense, impressive on defense, and impressive teamwork led by Wesley Slavin. So that being said, even in defeat, Middlebury put on an exceptional performance for their opening game. That being said, who was the Panthers' MVP tonight?
For me, I'm going to have to say it was Molly Harrison. I think she did it all out there. She had 9 kills. She had 8 digs. But, I'm going to give that team their credit. Lillian Caldwell, she had 6 kills. Gabby O'Toole, she had 23 kills. I think that was insane. And Campbell Keller had 14 digs. So I think this team didn't play terrible. They didn't play bad. It was a close game. I just think Ithaca adapted and got better and knew what they wanted, and they got that.
Yeah, Gabby O'Toole had 23 assists. My mistake. I think I did mention Gabby O'Toole a little earlier, so that's on me. But Campbell Keller with 14 digs, as you mentioned. But yeah, we mentioned Molly Harrison in the pregame show. The sophomore standout showed it here tonight. 9 kills, 8 digs. An impressive game for her. And guess what? She's going to have a lot of time to develop herself into one of the best players on this Middlebury Panthers team. So guess what, though, Rashad? We have a little bit of a coincidence here because as both teams look ahead, they both played St. John Fisher next. But Middlebury plays them first at 10:30 a.m. tomorrow, and Ithaca will play the Cardinals at later on in the day at 3:30 p.m. to conclude the Bomber Invitational. So that being said, since Middlebury plays them earlier, we'll start with them. We'll start with the Middlebury Panthers. What do they need to fix in order to get past St. John Fisher?
Well, Middlebury, they played pretty good today. I'm not going to lie. I just think defensively, just like you said earlier, Ithaca's offense just kind of dominated them at some point when they started to notice what they wanted. So I think what all the Middlebury has to do is get better at that defense and get better at the, those small plays that, gave Ithaca that edge that they needed. And I think Middlebury can win tomorrow.
You're absolutely right. Every little bit helps, no matter what happens. No matter if you're blowing them out or you're trying to avenge some sort of comeback here. And that's what Middlebury's going to look to do. They're going to try and come back from this 0-1 start against St. John Fisher tomorrow. And that'll be pretty exciting to see because we've seen some impressive an impressive start from this Middlebury team. Couldn't get past Ithaca because Ithaca is just that damn good right now. They have a bunch of veterans on the team. Middlebury's young right now, but they'll develop over time. And guess what? We're going to see, and this is only game 1 for the Middlebury Panthers, so we're going to see them develop over the season, and that will be very exciting to watch. But now, let's turn the page over to Ithaca because they've had a dominant win today. And guess what? They're going to also play the St. John Fisher Cardinals tomorrow as well. So what is their game plan? What does Ithaca need to carry over from this game if they're going to want to defeat the Cardinals as well?
Well, like I said, Ithaca's offense is kind of what helped them out. So was their defense. But, I think that they did what they needed to carry over is exactly what they wanted to do this game and exactly how they played this game. And maybe even better, obviously you always want to do better in the next game. The next day you always want to get better. And I think that's what Ithaca needs to do. If they want to come here to play, they want to keep that, that sweep going, then I think they need to keep the same things they're doing today and yesterday and keep it going forward.
You're absolutely right. Trying to keep the brooms out here at Ben Life Gymnasium. Ithaca plays St. John Fisher tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. or later in the afternoon, while Middlebury plays them early in the morning. St. John Fisher tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Relatively early, so there's a bit of a time breaks just so St. John Fisher gets some well-deserved rest after playing both of these great teams. But that's all for the post-game show. Alongside Rashad Bigelow, I'm Jonathan Falco saying so long, and thank you all for listening.